Hello, it is what our this lifestyle support weekly check-in with a bit of wild flow movement interspersed. And my name is Niran. It is September 7th, and today I want to review the last couple of weeks a little bit. I started these recordings about 2 weeks ago. And the first week, I touched on the fact that there is, despite, oh, my mom's here, despite our sense that there's physically a lot to change with our health. I know if you're anything like me, you can tend to go down the list on a regular basis. I wish this was different. I wish this was different. I wish this was different. And when it comes to your physical health or your physical body, I'd love to present the concept that there's nothing to fix. And so there's a difference in my mind between desiring change and needing and coming from an energy of fixing. So if we're in the vibration of there's nothing to fix, then but we have a desire for things to change, then it's a much more, I at least can feel it in my body. It's a bit more loving, it's a bit more supportive, it's less judgmental, it's not so black and white. And so with everything that I teach about health and wellness, it's really this vibration of there's nothing to fix about your physical body. However, there's always opportunity for lifestyle change, for thought process change, for movement change, but these are not things that we're coming about from a standpoint of needing something from our physical body, like pushing and forcing. And then instead, it's coming from a place of love and that we're on a journey. And so the second thing that I talked about last week was this idea that we're not really on a linear path with our health. We are more so on a spiraling path. And so that spiraling path brings us around again to things that we are learning and learning and learning and learning and learning. And so that's the process of change. And we get to come around each time with this sense of love and support and noticing instead of, oh, why am I back here again? Why
Yeah,
am I just and sure, we'll all go through those times, which is why we gather together to support each other. But that spiraling is mysterious, and it in within it, similar to our DNA, similar to the circling of the planets, it's mysterious. And so it's a journey, and it's a process of uncovering. And it's like a mystery. It's like a good book. You're not quite sure what's around the corner, and you don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know who you're going to, what recipe you're going to try. You don't know what you're going to stumble upon that helps you to look at things in a different way. Perhaps it's something a good book that you pick up. So that's more of a review of the last 2 weeks. There's nothing to fix. We're coming from an energy of love and recognizing that we each desire change. Second, that it's a spiraling process. There's nothing linear about it. So you don't just, oh, I'm never going to have this problem again, and toss it back and expect that you've fixed it, because there's nothing to fix. And so that this spiraling process allows us so much more love and less judgment. So today I want to present the idea that your body holds all the answers, that your thoughts will not bring you to peace, that your thinking mind is not designed to make decisions from, that the more we can step into our physical body, then the more clear we will be about the decisions we make. Everything from how do I spend my next 10 minutes, to who do I spend time with, to how do I share my gifts in the world. Your body holds all the answers. And in my observation of women, we tend, some of us more than others, we tend to disembody. So we pull ourselves out of our bodily experience because of traumas on various levels. There's deeper, more serious, intense traumas, but there are also very subtle, very what don't may not appear to be traumatic in the at the moment, but it can be as simple as hearing something from your mother, or saying something as a mother, or those are the very lighter traumas, but I think you understand what I mean. So when that any contraction, so last week I also spoke in this spiraling pattern that everything contracts and expands. And so in the experience of a trauma, then our nervous system is designed to contract and protect us. And so that contraction can continue over time. And this is part of why the body holds all the answers, because it's hanging on to any trauma that you've had over the years. And so the process of getting into your body in various ways can be re-triggering of traumas, and it can also be very healing. And when you start to recognize when you're in your body, then light bulbs will go on. So that's the third week. The body holds all the answers. And now let's enter into an experience of what that might feel like. And just to go back a little bit, when we've disembodied, when we've pulled out of our body experience for various reasons, then coming back into it may not always be comfortable. It's similar to sitting in meditation, where you just get really agitated and you have to do something. We're always, we're taught to do something. And so in my experience, when you can integrate the breath with movement and awareness, whether that awareness is experiencing your body proper or replacing your mind thoughts with a mantra or something that you're going to repeat, then those three combinations are really magical for beginning to slowly re-experience your body. And so that's typically the way I like to start. And then stillness feels easier. It feels more expansive and less contractive. So let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to start. A couple of weeks ago, I did an exercise with the pelvic floor, sitting in a chair. And I think that based on what's feeling present in the moment, that feels like a good place to start. So I'm going to back up a bit, adjust my camera. And if you're sitting in a chair, it's nice to have a chair without too much support close to you. but anything will do. Also, it's nice to have a chair. This is actually Annika's stool, Marie, that she made. And it's also nice to have a chair that you can sit on the edge of. So if you're ready to go, bring yourself to the edge so that you can support yourself with a nice straight spine. And begin to imagine your pelvic bowl, the sits bones being the bottom of the bowl, and that you're sitting, your entire hip structure is actually this bowl. And so begin exploring what it feels like to rock your bowl forward, hyperextending your low back, and then tipping your bowl backwards and kind of contracting the muscles of your belly. And as you begin to do that, see if you can just let your chin be the grounding point. So instead of flexing and contracting your neck, you're actually giving your spine more of a stabilizer. Now you certainly can experience that, and as a little process but for the first part, just see if you can keep that stable. Because what that does is it then begins to allow the upper body to begin to move a little more than it's used to. So now sometimes the tendency is to just come forward and back. So notice if that's what you're doing, or are you able to almost keep your chin above your pelvic bowl and your shoulders above your pelvic bowl, but what actually rotates is your spine, like a beautiful bow and arrow, like it's the string on the bow and arrow. And so the chair is your stabilizing factor on the bottom, and your head is the stabilizing factor on the top, but you're pulling and releasing the string. And you're also beginning to experience that rocking on your pelvic bowl. Now I'm going to add in the breath. So this is an extremely important part of any movement. The breath holds the wisdom, the breath holds the capacity to help you expand from the inside out. So you're inhaling as you open your chest, exhaling as you round. Inhaling, exhaling. Now, if it feels better for you to inhale and exhale, try it out and see. For me, this feels more expansive. This feels more contracted. So try that just a few more times. Explore the edges of your movement. So it's in the edges that the body is communicating to you. I mean, it's communicating to you all the time, but the process of getting in your body is noticing, oh, when I do this, I feel this. And I can play with this one and explore that edge. There are so many opportunities in life to explore this edge of discomfort. So it's that noticing where there's a discomfort, is it verging on at the point of pain and it's too much? Then don't do it. Or do it a little bit and be aware. Now, there's another aspect to this as women that I love teaching. It seems a little beyond this container, but you can play with the muscles of your pelvic floor. So, this being your pelvic bowl, the subtlety of the small muscles of your pelvic floor are extremely important to all aspects of your health. And there's actually a study of a woman that I've read at least one of her books, where she is studying the contraction or the expansion of the muscles of the pelvic floor of women and associating those muscles with different aspects of their life. So how they're showing up in their life. And there's so without going into that more deeply, notice how the exercise changes when you lift up on the muscles that prevent you from going to the bathroom, both in the front and in the back. So any of those muscles, when you lift up on them, give you different support. Now, sure, there's, historically there's been Kegel exercises, but really what Kegel exercises don't take into consideration is that there are tight aspects of all parts of those muscles and loose aspects. And so certain health issues as women stem from how contracted or how loose those muscles can be. And how contracted and how loose is also associated with what goes on in our thought process, in our life, in our relationships. And so when the subtlety of something so simple as rocking on your pelvic bowl can begin to help you understand the connection to when you hold those muscles tight and when you let them relax. And depending on who you are and how you show up in the world, you may tend to hold them tight, or you may tend to never feel them at all. Or, yeah, those are usually the two. There are certainly gradations between them, but so just a few more. And notice what happens if you're like, wow, we've been doing this a long time. So just notice in your system, because the more you can experience a movement and settle into your body, ideally I would be, not talking, and you can try this on your own so that there's silence, so that there's a chance to really get into your breath. Really get into, and I would recommend 1 minute to 3 minutes every day. I love starting out my practice this way because, as I said before, it circulates the cerebrospinal fluid. So right now, we've been almost giving an internal massage to your nervous system. So your cerebrospinal fluid, because you're moving your entire spine, is flushing up to your brain. So don't be surprised if you're a little sharper in what you're thinking and what you're saying and what you're doing, because you've had this increase in circulation, and it's so subtle and it's so easy. Yeah, that's for a whole nother week. But our tendency to think that exercise or movement has to be hard, has to be painful, I should do it, those kinds of things But my mission is actually to find exercises for women to do that they love, that brings them joy. So, because that, well, there's so many reasons. So, if this simple thing can bring you joy, then I say do it every day. So, I'm going to um, slow down this movement, be quiet for a minute, and invite you to come to stillness. Invite your breath to come in all the way down to that pelvic bowl. Play with the presence of those subtle pelvic floor muscles. How do they invite the breath as a magnet? And then from that place, notice your hands and your wrists. Notice if you can release any tension there. Notice your forearms. And the muscles of your shoulders. See if the breath can massage the inside of these places. Bring your awareness up to your neck. Perhaps looking over your right shoulder. And then looking over your left shoulder. Noticing if it feels good to bring your chin to your chest. All the while allowing your breath to be the center of your awareness. And if it feels right, take it from there. Allow your body to show you where it wants to move. Perhaps it feels good to shrug your shoulders and squeeze them back behind you. Bringing air to your scapula, to your back. Perhaps it feels good to inhale and open and squeeze. Perhaps it feels good to circle your wrists. You get to choose based on your intimate relationship with this one and only body you have. The one that's doing the best it can. And come back to stillness. Welcoming the breath. And taking some time to thank the body. Thank you. I adore you. I honor you. I want to do what's best for you.